Hello there. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This episode or video is all about my autoimmune disease story and how I was able to overcome it, what I did, and one of my great friends is interviewing me and sharing my story through her questions and perspective. And I hope you enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to know more information, it's down in the comments below or the link down below. And if you want to reach out to me, absolutely, Instagram is the best way to reach out to me. And hope you enjoy the video.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Cora, and I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and health and wellness coach, and I help individuals with gut health. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me. His name is Kevin, and he's a nutritionist, and he'll be sharing his experience with autoimmune disease. At the end, we will go over a program that helps support gut health, and yeah, it supports a diverse microbiome, and it helps like detoxify the body from glyphosate, which is like it's Roundup. And this program has also helped Kevin. But yeah, first I also wanted to share something about gut health that I love. So there's many reasons why gut health is super important, but my two favorites is that one, over 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut, and the second is that over 70% of the immune system is in the gut. And what happens is that alterations in the gut microbiome can cause immune dysregulation, leading to autoimmune disorders. So yeah, without further ado, let's welcome Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you? And thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me to your space. I know that one of your things you're focusing on is bringing people into spaces like this, so that we can, share stories and help others. And so I'm really grateful, to definitely be a part of that and hopefully help some people along the way.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And yeah, if you want to share your story about your struggle with autoimmune disease and like how you've been able to overcome it, because I'm sure there's so many people out there that are also struggling with some sort of autoimmune disease, and maybe they think that there's not a solution, that they need to take like pills and medicine, and maybe they could try something different that's more holistic and see how it works for them as it has like worked for you.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, I would say I start with I'm from San Diego, California, and that's where I am right now. And I was born and raised there. And I've traveled all over the place, so to speak, but I really grew up in California eating kind of like typical Americans eat. I think I've traveled around almost every single state across the US, and I've seen a lot of different ways that the people eat. And I think I eat pretty similarly, I would say, across the states. And they have what they call the standard American diet. Is kind of why it's the name. It's pretty standard in America. Your burgers and your cheeseburgers and your hot dogs, and you got your bacon and eggs for breakfast and cereal, and that sort of stuff, sandwiches for lunch, right? And so I think I lived like that kind of lifestyle, pretty common. I wouldn't say it was too different from most people. And I even remember when I was young, even like the first, I guess, introduction to any kind of health kind of stuff was in college. Actually, one of my first classes in college, my first year, and it was a nutrition class. And I remember one of the activities that we had to do in the nutrition class was track what we eat for the week or something like that. And I had never done that, right? And I kind of thought that class was kind of a joke, you know what I mean? Because at that age, when I was really young, I know we were talking earlier, but I was a really good athlete, and I felt like food didn't matter. Like I just eat whatever, I'm going to keep on going, nothing's slowing me down, because it didn't really make an impact. If I ate healthy, I performed the same. If I ate like crap, I performed the same. So there was no negative repercussions, right? And I remember writing that down on my tracking my stuff for the week or whatever. And it was like, because I'd moved out already, you know, I was living on my own and I didn't really learn how to cook. It was like pretty much almost 100% fast food. You know what I mean? Like when I was really thinking about like, what am I actually eating? Like actually writing it down and tracking it. But I didn't care because I had the mentality food is food. Like it didn't really matter. I even thought I had an iron stomach. Like I could eat whatever I wanted and nothing mattered because I also was the type of person that didn't get sick very often. You know, I wasn't like, oh, I'm always sick or, you know, or anything like that. Like I was like, I'm fine. I'm never sick, you know, like what's the big deal? You know, eat all kinds of candy or junk, right? And it's fine until it wasn't. And so what ended up happening at 25 was I was really waking up with extreme pain and a lot of like stiffness and tightness in my back. And it felt kind of like I was in a car accident, almost like and I've been in a car accident, so I do know what that feels like. If you're like severe trauma, you know, like you've been through a wreck. And that was happening every single night at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm waking up in crazy pain, like what is going on? And I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, I didn't lift anything heavy. I didn't do anything weird exercise. I wasn't doing anything super physical. I wasn't working out back then. Nothing really made sense. You know, I was going to the chiropractor, like trying to get adjustments. I was Googling things. I was taking like, you know, pain pills. And I reluctantly went to the doctor. And the big reason why I didn't want to go to the doctor, because I always thought it was like a last resort. My dad always taught me like, we go to the hospital, it's the last resort. It's not the first thing that we do. We're gonna do something else before we go to the hospital. You know what I mean? And I don't know for sure exactly why he thought that, but I think it was more of a money thing than a health thing. You know what I mean? I think he was more like, that's expensive. We don't got insurance and like we're not gonna do that. I remember one time I broke my arm, my shoulder actually, my right shoulder on the playground. And I came home and I was like, I didn't know I broke it, but it seemed like it, you know. And I was like, I think I broke my shoulder or my arm or something, you know, like we need to go to the hospital. And he's like, no, we're not going to the hospital. Even with a broken bone, I didn't know it was broken then, but it hurt so much and I had to write with my left hand in school because he was like, we're not going to the hospital. Like that serious, you know what I mean? And later on, I did get an X-ray and it had broke and it healed not how it's supposed to heal. And so it is what it is. But the point is that that's how much he was like, we're not going to the hospital. So I kind of had that in my mindset. And I was like, man, nothing is working. I actually probably wouldn't have gone to the hospital. It wasn't, I was driving in my car. I was in Houston, Texas, and I heard an ad on the radio. And the ad, I still to this day had never heard an ad about this disease. So I don't know what it was, but I heard an ad about they're explaining a disease, you know, or, you know, are you suffering with this? Are you suffering with this? Are you suffering with this? And I was like, honestly, I don't want to go to the hospital and I'm not a hypochondriac. Like, you know what a hypochondriac is? Someone's like, I think I have that. I think I have cancer. I think I have this. I'm not one of those people. I actually don't want anything. I hope I have nothing. And so, but hearing the symptoms, I was like, dang, that sounds very similar to what I'm going through. And it had a name, you know, it was like, the name was ankylosing spondylitis. I went to the doctor, I explained my situation, and they said, you know, yes, they did whatever test and like, oh, yes, this is the disease you have. You know what I mean? The one I came in thinking I might have is the one that I have. And I thought that was strange. Later, I kind of have theories on why that is now, but that's the way it is. And they said that that was $4,000 a month
For
for
medication.
for that medication. For the medication for that disease is called Humira, and they said it was $4,000 a month, and it was an injection that I would need to take twice a month, right? So $2,000 an injection, basically. And so I couldn't afford it. My insurance didn't cover it. I didn't have great insurance back then. And I basically suffered for the next 4 years. It got progressively worse. If untreated, this disease over time, your joints it starts in the back, but it starts to spread, up and down, like what's below your spine, your hips and that sort of stuff, what's above your spine, your neck, and, right? So it starts to spread and it causes severe inflammation. That was what the pain was happening. And it also starts to because of the inflammation, your spine will, and your bones and your joints will start to fuse together. So like, your spine is like bendy and flexible, like it'll start to be like a board, like stiff, and you could look at people that have suffered with this and like long term and like what they look like, and that's how they are. They can't move their whole back. It's like a stiff, like they need people to take care of them. And so anyway, so that is the next 4 years happened. And what actually changed me, and I was like, I'm going to make a change or whatever, is my dad committed suicide. And that was for me, like the big wake up call and the big shift, and like the realization of like life could be over from 1 minute to the next. And, and he was like, for me at the time, like the most important family member at the time, you know what I mean? Like the one that closest to. So it was the most devastating loss that I could have, you know what I mean? And in the most devastating way, no note, no reason.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So as intense as, you could imagine or whatever. And then, but the good that came out of that is I was like, I need to get my ass into gear. I need to start making some changes. One of the things was like, okay, I got to get healthy. I'm not that healthy. And I was like, I'll go back to the hospital. I had better insurance. Let's see what's going on. Maybe there's been some new progress in this disease, and maybe they have something better. You know what I mean? They didn't have anything better. It was the same news, but I had better insurance. So I got the medication. I started taking the medication. Right now, the purpose of the medication for autoimmune diseases, most of them, is to weaken the immune system. And that might seem weird, right? But what they tell you about an autoimmune disease from the doctors is they say your immune system is attacking itself. So we need to suppress that so that you don't have pain. It isn't attacking itself, right? So in the medication is doing that to weaken the immune system. That is not a side effect, by the way. There's a bunch of side effects that are totally exclusive from that. That's like the purpose of the drug, right? So it was doing its job, it was lessening the pain a little bit, right? But I knew I had to be more cautious, right? Because like what do you think is likely to happen? Maybe if you have a weak immune system, what's likely to happen?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
You are more prone to disease,
Yeah,
like
disease or sickness, anything, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what happened. I got the flu, and it was terrible, like the worst sickness of my entire life. I was so sick in bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I was like, for 3 weeks straight, I couldn't work or nothing. My voice was so gone that I couldn't even speak. I was like nothing was coming out. I was like, I thought I was gonna die. It was like that bad. I was like, dang, like this might be it. Like, I don't know. And I didn't want to go back to the hospital because I'm like, I think they caused this, even though like I didn't know, but I'm like, I felt like that. Whether it's true or not, I kind of felt like that at the time. And also I was like, they already gave me all the solutions, what solution they have. So I'm just like Googling everything, like how to get better, like how to get not unsick. I'm taking like honey and cough medicine and flu medicine and anything. I'm like, anything, what's gonna help? Right. And so while I was sick in bed, like contemplating, like, am I going to live or not? Someone recommended me the documentary, What the Health. You've seen What the Health, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So that documentary, at the time when I watched that, it was the first time I really processed or learned or whatever, took the information in that what we eat can lead to different diseases and cause, like heart disease or cancer or diabetes was kind of like what they talked about the most because they're like the top killers in the US, right? And I was like really surprised about all this information and really shocked and kind of angry, a little bit angry because I'm kind of like, dang, like what the heck? Like why doesn't anyone know this kind of stuff, But then also I'm like, I need to get better. So let me try this. I don't know any other options. I said I'll do anything to get better. Anything includes giving up animal products, which at the time I was not wanting to do, or I didn't think I wanted to do that at all. I kind of made fun of vegans, to be honest, at times, right? And so I was like, I don't really want to do that, but I'll do what I got to do to get better. So I tried that, just going plant-based and what it recommended. And within a week, I wasn't sick anymore. Like the flu went away and my immune system started coming back. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is maybe working. I was like, I'm going to look into this a little bit more. Like, I got to learn some more information. I started learning more information. I quickly learned like what happens to the animals inside. And it was the most like the cruelest, most disgusting thing I've ever seen. But I didn't really, before I thought we needed to do that, right? I was like, oh, well, we need to do that. So I know it's bad, but we got to do it because we got to eat it, right? But now I had the mindset of like, well, maybe we don't need to do this, right? So I quickly learned, really within a few days, that it was unnecessary and cruel to eat animals. That's when I'm kind of like, I went vegan, so to speak. It was like, oh, I'm making this decision, like I'm not going to do this anymore, right? But then like my health started getting better, so I lost like 50 pounds after
Wow.
going vegan, and within like 6 months, and my skin started clearing up, and I had better energy. The back pain was starting to feel better, and I was like, this is great, this is awesome. I started, 6 months later, I started sharing. I was like, I want to help people. Like, how can I help people? I was like, I'll start online. I created my YouTube, and then I created my podcast, and went heavier on social media, Instagram, and that sort of stuff. But then I wanted to learn more about nutrition. I started realizing it's so silly. Like when I was eating, like, because before it's like Taco Bell and McDonald's, whatever, like a lot of Mexican food, no one really cared about what I ate really before. But now that I'm like sharing what I'm eating, everyone's like a nutritionist all of a sudden. Like everyone's
Yes,
like,
yes.
all of a sudden,
Everyone.
like everyone's an expert. Like, wait, I was just eating like, cheeseburgers all the time and pizza. Like you didn't really care. You weren't a nutritionist then. So I was like, I need to learn this stuff. I was like, I got to learn some of this stuff. And I really want to, part of me was like, I want to learn it to just say like, I do know what I'm talking about. Like you have to trust me, like trust me. Like I'm not just making things up, like that was part of it, in the beginning, like for just learning nutrition. Right. But then like, it's hard. Like you start learning like about nutrition, it's hard to not do those things as well. It's hard to not implement some of the things that you're learning, right? And so I'm like, okay, I could do a little bit better here, I could do a little better here. But then I got to a point where I said, okay, I need to fix my autoimmune disease. That was kind of like why I started this, right? That was like the main thing. And I interviewed someone on my podcast, and she was the first person I ever personally met that had an autoimmune disease. She had Hashimoto's, right? That's what your mom has, right?
Yeah, my mom. Yeah, but my mom
Or had.
remission. Yeah.
Yeah, remission. So she had in remission or whatever Hashimoto's, right? And she was sharing how she did it, and it was face-to-face podcast. Like it wasn't like this. It was like, oh, we were together, and so it was like the first time in person meeting someone like that. And I was like, she shared how she did it. A lot of it was like raw fruits, certain superfoods. She was talking like spirulina and stuff, and then like uh yeah, just mostly raw and mostly fruit, kind of, was like kind of like the main thing for her. And she's like, you got to read this book, Medical Medium, right? I was like, okay. And so I read the Medical Medium book. I immediately started doing that stuff. I was like, I got to do this, I'm going to do the Medical Medium. I'm going to do juicing. I was like, I'm going to do all this. I believed in it. I studied the nutrition. I read the book. I knew the power of food because I already had some benefits already, like some improvements. And I bought all the stuff online. I bought a bunch of things, like spirulina and chlorellas and reishi mushrooms and all these different things. And I bought the juicer that I needed and all this stuff. And I'm like, I gave up within a week. The reason why I think I gave up, the biggest reason, it was very time consuming. So much time. I was working like 70 hours a week at my job at the
Juicing,
time.
you mean? It's time consuming.
Juicing.
Yeah.
Juicing, yeah. Before, when I tried the Medical Medium way, you know, um, juicing was very time consuming, took a lot of time. And so I was working very busy hours, like 70 hours a week. And so that was really hard to do. And also, I'm not a big fan of cleanup and washing and slicing and prepping and all that sort of stuff. So that was also a lot of time, much more time than I expected. And then also, it didn't really taste that good, to be honest. I didn't really like celery juice. Like I was
Yeah.
going for like vegan junk food to like celery juice. I'm like, this is hard, you know? And so that was really hard. And even though I knew that there was good benefits and good results, and I believed in it, I was like, I still believe that this could work. I just couldn't do it. And it wasn't until I met a mutual friend for some of the people that listen to us, Allison, and she was someone that I was working. We were already working together online. We were doing stuff online, helping people, and we did podcasts together, like working with a few other companies and stuff, and doing things. And she was like, look, I found something, you know what I mean, that I think can help your situation. I know that you're going through an autoimmune disease, and I think that this could help. And I took a look at it, and the thing that blew me away about it was kind of all the things that I learned, kind of all wrapped up in one, right? But the missing piece that I didn't see anywhere, but I was looking for, was gut health. And the reason why I actually was looking for this, I remember I was following this guy who goes by Goji Man. I don't know if you've ever seen Goji Man. He's like a nutritionist online, and he talks about different things. But anyways, he's really good. He has a lot of good information. He was always talking about gut health, and he's like, oh, you can do this link, or my link in the description. You could get a free gut health test and this sort of stuff. And I was so close to doing that. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have a solution that I remember, but he had like these tests, and I was like, that's interesting. Like I want to get some tests. I want to, I think this is important. Everything he said made sense. So when I saw the gut health protocol, right, and what it could do, I was like, this is the solution. This is the first real solution that I actually saw. But I was like anyone, skeptical. I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't know about this. It makes sense. But the person that shared it with me, I really trust a lot. We did a lot of work together. She had an incredible transformation as well, and I wanted to try it. So the first time I bought any kind of health foods or anything like that, like the next thing I bought with the superfoods that we're going to talk about in a minute, when I purchased those, I was in another country. I was in the Middle East, and I was working overseas, and I couldn't order it there, so I just shipped it to California. I was like, I'll be in California later. I'll get it. I believe you. Like I'll try that later. And so I went back, and I started trying it, and what I found was it was really, really tasty. It was really easy. It was really convenient, right? And I really liked that. And I didn't have a great, at the time, I didn't have a great routine for breakfast. I was like, this is great. I got a great routine for breakfast, you know what I mean? Because I really wasn't consistent there, so that helped me maintain. And I think that was one of the things that was really important for like people like me or guys, you know what I mean? Like we're more stubborn and hard-headed, and we're not going to change. And like health stuff, get that away from me. You know what I mean? I want some burgers. So it's like, it's harder for guys sometimes to getting these healthy foods in, even if we believe it's important, right? So for me, it tasted really good. That was such a big factor, right? And very easy, convenient, easy cleanup, right? And great for on the go. And those were all like just very important things to me, right? But then it was like the deeper layers that someone needs for autoimmune disease, right? And the big layers are that someone with an autoimmune disease, most of the time, is because they have a leaky gut. For a lot of them, it's one of the big underlying issues. And what happens with a leaky gut is, as you can imagine, the name, imagine your gut's like a circle, and then you open it, and the food that you're supposed to eat is going into your bloodstream, like as simple as that. Like holes in your stomach essentially is what it is. So the food goes out, and your body's got to do something with it. It's not like it's just not just floating around there. They're like, invader, intruder, we need alert, right? And those alerts are like inflammation marker, like they come up as inflammation markers. You know what I mean? It's inflammation. It's your body. It's like you get hit right in your knee or something, you have an inflammation, it swells up. It's good, your body's working, it's fixing it, right? So it's doing the same thing, but it gets overwhelmed. It's too much. So what happens is too much inflammation, right? Too many particles all over the place, right? Your body's getting overwhelmed, it gets a little bit confused, and it starts causing damage into other areas. So you need to lower that inflammation. You need to fix the leaky gut, right?
Because otherwise it causes like chronic inflammation over time that's the main problem. Like
and most of the inflammation that gets so high, it sometimes manifests or into an autoimmune disease, right? And so that was a little bit what's happening. But then the other thing, so then what happens, another factor is nutrient deficiencies. There's a lot of people that have let's say you're deficient in vitamin C and you get scurvy, you know what I mean? Or you're deficient in vitamin B12 and right, and you might suffer from low energy or chronic fatigue or something, right? There are deficiencies that people have, right, where they don't have vitamins, and that can also lead to different diseases that some people are suffering, right? So the big factor is, one, you have the absorption effectively. So all of the food that I'm eating, because we're going to talk about how we fix the absorption, but how the absorption is fixed. Now, all of the food that I'm eating is getting absorbed effectively, which is important. That's what I tell people sometimes. I'm like, when you fix your gut, it's not just the foods, like the good foods that are doing good, but you're going to also absorb it better from other foods, you know, that maybe aren't as good, but you're still going to absorb it better, you know. So it helps with overall eating, right? But then the other big thing that people are struggling with is not only absorbing the nutrients, but the food itself is nutrient depleted, right? So the other big thing that I found out was our soil health. Like 80% of the soil is depleted. It doesn't have the nutrients that it's supposed to have, and that's where the nutrients in the soil go to the plants, you know, and the plants, you know, go to whoever eats the plants, right? Gets the nutrients. And so what happens is when you grow food, right, in regenerative soil, in clean soil, the nutrient-rich soil, and then you eat the food that's grown in that soil, you're going to have way more nutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, right? The things that maybe you weren't getting, okay? And then maybe a disease that you have starts to go away. It's very simple for a lot of people. It's you need to absorb what you're eating, and you need to have all the nutrients in what you're eating, right? I mean, it's kind of as simple as it is. When I actually did that, consistently, I do not have the time that I did it the most. We have the ultimate lifestyle transformation that I know we're going to share with some people right now. When I committed to that, I did a full commitment, 2020, the end of 2020. Since that time, when I was like, I'm committing, I'm not gonna back down. I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing this right. I'm gonna make sure that I'm eating everything right in between, and I'm gonna stay consistent. I haven't had any symptoms since 2020, right? So it's almost been 3 years, right, that I haven't had any symptoms, you know, for my autoimmune disease. And I think that the big factor, like from everything that I've told you so far, is that you have your gut health and you're getting all the nutrients you need. And I think that's going to fix a lot of people's issues. And sometimes people overcomplicate things, right? And I think a lot of times people are doing a lot of the right things sometimes, right? But their toxicity overload is too much, right? So they're like, yeah, of course I'm eating my fruits and veggies. Of course I got my gut health fixed. Of course I got my organic food. Of course I got all the things that I need. But I'm eating, you know, so many cookies still. I'm eating so much junk food still. You know, I'm still eating, it's still all of the stuff that's happening, right? You got to give your body a break for some time, because people think sometimes the food is what's healing us. The food is aiding us in the healing. Our body is the best healer. So our body, that's why animals, when they're sick, right, in the wild, they don't eat, they fast, because they know they need to get the sickness out, and it most likely came from what they ate. Like, of the odds of them being sick, it's probably what they ate, you know, and they instinctively know that, right? Even us, if we stop eating, we're sick, and we stop eating for 3 days, it's going to be a heck of a lot better, right? Than continuously putting the things that are maybe getting us sick, right? But how sustainable is that? And I think that's the tough. Like, okay, what are you going to do? Not eat for 3 days? Eat for 3 days? Not eat for 3 days? Like, just because, like, the key is that the foods that you're eating are they're naturally taking the toxins out of your body, right? It's naturally happening, you know, just by making the choice. You know, like a lot of people know, I always use this example, cilantro, you know, cilantro, right?
Yeah.
Or parsley, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people know.
Different but similar.
Yeah, you know, okay, similar. But you know how a lot of people know that it removes heavy metals?
Yes.
Right? People aren't eating salsa, like chips and salsa, and like, I'm on a detox, I'm eating chips and salsa. You know what I mean? Their body, the food they're eating, just happens to do that. And I think if we did that on a more consistent basis, we could eat as much as we want. We wouldn't really worry about what we're eating, because we're nourishing and detoxing. So yeah, go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, let me share. Yeah, I just wanted to share that sometimes people feel like, I'm already eating healthy, you know, why do I need to do like a gut repair program? And it's like, we also need to think about the years that we have been damaging our body. because we are all guilty of like eating like some fast food or like eating like some processed food like at some time, like even drinking, like there's like very few people that have never drank any alcohol. So it's like your body accumulates the toxins, and what's worse is like there's this toxin called glyphosate, which is like Roundup, and you might be eating clean, but I was talking to this person that has worked with the gut, what's it called? Hold on, the detox project. And he said to me, most people don't even know, but even organic food is nowadays, like most of the time, cross-contaminated with it. And what glyphosate does is that it kills the gut microbiome, and then it affects the gut lining as well, like creating the holes, and then like the food, like it gets not absorbed, and then it gets like to the bloodstream, and then it triggers the immune system. What you were saying, so it's amazing when people eat organic, but at the same time, like there's this missing piece as well, which is like flooding the body with high vibrational foods like that are like high nutrient dense, plus detoxing from glyphosate, because glyphosate inhibits the liver's ability to actually detox. So yeah, let me share the program real quick.
Can I add something to that as well while you're doing that? So
Yeah.
that is very true what you're saying. The disease that I had took decades to develop, right? And even though it's in like a remission stage or so, there's no symptoms, I'm still repairing the damage done during that phase that I had it, right? And it takes, like what we're seeing right here, the science shows it takes 90 days, right? To create a habit and create a lifestyle change. And you need to give your body at least a 90-day chance, you know what I mean, to really feel some really benefits. And that's also the consistency. People think that we're so used to something happening fast, right? Like I'm on my phone, I got it right now. I Google something, I got it right now. I go on ChatGPT and it writes me a book. You know what I mean? From AI, we're used to everything now. TikTok, everything really, really quick. I need a pill. I have a headache. I need it to happen now. It needs to happen within 30 minutes, right? No, people aren't realizing that these things take time. You know what I mean? When you're doing it the right way and you're not taking shortcuts. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, so basically this is the program that I've done. Kevin has also done, and like we were talking about, that has helped with his immune disease. It has helped me tremendously as well with like brain fog, which I didn't even know I had. My energy, I struggled with fatigue as well, and I thought it was normal. And that's the other thing. Many people think that, like, for example, digestive issues are normal. Brain fog is normal. Feeling fatigue after lunch is normal. Like having like not having quality sleep is normal. This is not normal, and we need to stop normalizing that.
Can I share something really quick? I
Yeah, of
remember
course.
when I was working in the restaurant industry, like a long time ago. I remember I used to take people out to go eat for lunch, right? I used to train them, and they'd be sitting down, and I'd be training them like on a PowerPoint and this sort of stuff. And if we went to something that was really big and fattening, where they were like, it was really heavy food, and we'd go back and sit down and I'd be training them, I'd have half the room falling asleep, literally in front of me, falling asleep. And I'm pretty charismatic and can talk pretty well during a room.
Yeah.
And they're literally falling asleep after the meal, and that was normalized. We're like, oh, it's just normal. So it is really interesting.
So basically, this program is like different from like any other program I've ever seen, because it truly focuses on repairing the gut, eliminating glyphosate, and like supporting what Kevin was saying, like absorption of nutrients. So here we are. Also, it includes, so basically, let me share. So there's like a few different ones. This is like the basic one. Then we have the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation Plus Collagen. This one is the same as the one before, but with focus more like towards collagen support, and it doesn't have a parasite cleanse, which the first one has. The one that supports the immune system, and the one for people that work out a lot. And basically the core products in all of them, it's like these 4 products. And it's like the Power Shake, which this one is like amazing because it's the same as eating 6 microgreens salads. And when you are doing the transformation, you are having 2 juices actually. So it's like 12 microgreen salads a day, which this floods your body with so much nutrition, and that helps like create a diverse microbiome to support the immune system. I don't know if you have anything to add here.
Yeah, well, can I add something? Is it okay if you scroll up just to select the collagen pack again?
Yeah.
And if you can show that one for just a minute, I want to share this particular one for autoimmune disease specifically. And the reason why I think that this one is so powerful is because I think all of them will work great, but I think the one that is the most, if I were to choose out of those 4 options for someone specifically with autoimmune disease, I would choose this one specifically because it has the gut health support that you were talking about, that's removing the glyphosate, it's repairing, it's getting all the absorption that you need. But then with the dark berry protein, what's powerful about that dark berry protein that's going with that is it has some of the best berries in the entire world, that are the highest antioxidants of any fruit. So if the categories of fruits, you have the berries, they're the highest in antioxidants, which is the lowering of inflammation. So this is aiding in the lowering inflammation. You combine that with the tart cherry juice that's right there that you would have at nighttime. That is the #1 highest fruit in antioxidants. So you pair that together, you really have a powerhouse of fighting inflammation. Which I think is very, very critical in the stage where you are for the autoimmune disease. And you have the amino acids, the super amino acids, which are aiding in your lean muscle. But why I think that's important for autoimmune disease or anyone that's similar with the arthritis or the joints or anything like that. The other thing that's really powerful with the aminos is building up it helps you strengthen your bones as well. And a lot of the other things that protein does within the joints, right, which is where your collagen is going, which is the issue that people that have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or ankylosing spondylitis, like I had, is a big issue within the joint. So all of these things are working together in tandem to actually fight the #1 cause of what's causing the autoimmune disease, and is the inflammation, which is the biggest thing, right? So that's why this is so powerful, because it's very hard to find all of these things together all in one spot. You might be great at getting berries and you're like, I got so many berries nearby, but do they have glyphosate on them? Are they adding in the detox, into you? Are they organic? Were they grown in regenerative soil? There's a lot of questions there. You know what I mean? Like, how are you aiding and supporting your gut microbiome? You know what I mean? Do you have holes in there? Is that what's causing the inflammation? Do you have something that is proven to remove glyphosate that's gonna repair that, right? So I think these are some of the questions, that people need to ask themselves when they're making these kind of decisions, and see if this works for you. But the biggest thing is that you have to try it. You have to feel it for yourself. You know what I mean? You have to understand for yourself. And to me, there's absolutely no risk. You have 0 risk and everything to gain. One, it's all food. It's all from Whole Foods. It's all clean. So that's the 0 risk. There aren't side effects. It's not like you're taking a medication with 100 different side effects. Potentially, there are no side effects, right? I mean, the side effects are, you might lose, some unhealthy weight, right? You might have more energy. You might have clearer skin. These are some of the side effects that you might see. But the other thing that's actually no risk too is that you get all your money back. You literally get all your money back, guarantee, if you absolutely don't like it and you feel like it doesn't work. You have after 60 days, you have that. So to me, that's really what makes this, like it's called the ultimate lifestyle transformation. I don't even think it could have a better name with how it impacts people, how it's impacted my life, and just the simplicity and ease of it all.
Yes, that was like amazing. And yeah, I just wanted to add the Biomedic is the one that helps repair the gut lining. And it's also a pre and probiotic, which is like amazing. And then the dark cherry juice, besides like helping with inflammation, also supports the body's natural ability to produce melatonin, which is amazing because when we age, the body starts producing less and less melatonin, so that's amazing to support. And you sleep probably so much better and much better quality sleep.
And most people don't know that when you're sleeping is kind of really when your body's regenerating the most.
Yeah, it's repairing.
Absolute most repair is happening while you're sleeping. And so if you have bad sleep, like sleep that is you're waking up often, or it's not full, it's not deep, you're not getting into the REM cycle, and it's just not enough, right? All of those things are going to impact everything to do with your repair in your body, everything that your body's trying to do to repair.
Yeah. I think I don't have anything else to add. If like anyone is interested, I am going to leave the link. And yeah, I don't know if there's any questions. If not, we will leave it here. And thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much, Kevin, for like sharing your story. And yeah, hopefully it helps someone out there that's struggling with something similar or with the same thing. So yeah, I really appreciate your time here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.